your own eulogy. He had a lot to say. He had a lot of nothing to say. He had a lot to say. He had a lot of nothing to say. Calm down. Get on your fucking throne. Beneath the fucking space. Take me on the next school button. It's changing either way. We're adding 2 teams. The schedule next year is going to look nothing like this year. That's why you change next year, because now you're going to change 2 years in a row. It makes no sense at all. Zero. I can't understand how anybody with a functional brain supports an 8-game conference schedule with 16 teams in the conference. It just makes absolutely no sense at all. Zero. None. Zero. Not even a little bit. Shut up with that, too. I'm tired of that shit, too. We're going to 12 teams in the playoffs. You can go fucking 10-2 and still make the playoffs. Why is Alabama scared to play LSU and Tennessee? This makes no sense. Who does it matter? You're going to play 4 or 5 good teams, and you're going to play 4 or 5 bad teams every year. And you can go 10-2 and still get in the playoffs. So all you're doing by voting against this is eliminating rivalry games and making it to where you don't play other teams in the SEC but once every 5 or 6 years. It's just stupid. Yeah, Kyle figured it out. If you want a 9-game schedule, you're new to football. Yeah. Congratulations, Kyle. You're a fucking retard. Since there's 2 Kyles, I may be more specific. Kyle Downsy. going to be like the COVID year. You know, Greg Sankey's just going to get in a room and randomly assign you 8 opponents next year. Yes, afraid to play Tennessee now. That's what Saban said. He doesn't think it's fair that Bama would have to play Tennessee, Auburn, and LSU in the same year, even though he's been playing all 3 of them in the same year every single year since he's been at Alabama. He's a fucking pussy. Good morning, it's Uncle Lou here. Yes, that's right, it is me, Uncle Lou, live on LouTube for you. Thanks for watching another mind-bending, hair-raising, and head-scratching edition of Uncle Lou After Dark, the college football call-in show. YouTube's longest-running college football call-in show also in 2. How's everybody doing? Happy Thursday. I hope you've had a great week. I have. So I hope you have too. Appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. We're going to talk some college football. The phone lines are open. Well, it's not really a phone line. The StreamYard link is open. The link is in the description of the video. If you'd like to join the show today and talk some college football, click that link. The news today, the SEC has caved in to 3 or 4 of the pussies within the conference that wanted to stay at 8 games. So it looks like that's what we're going to do. So shout out to Alabama, Kentucky, and Arkansas for being afraid to play a 9-game conference schedule. We're stuck with a ridiculous, pointless, 1-year, arbitrary, completely random schedule for 2024. You have no idea who you're playing next year. You have no idea whether you're playing their home or away. You've got no clue. None. They're just going to get, it's going to be just like the COVID year. Greg Sankey will lock himself in a room sometime here in the next 6 months, and he'll just randomly assign every SEC team 8 teams to play. Whoopity fucking do. And then after next season, we'll be right back in the same spot we're in now with all these idiots in a room arguing about what we should do about the schedule. Because you know what this is? This is raising the debt ceiling for a year. That's all. That's what this is. This is kicking the can down the road. This is as pitiful as our fucking representatives up there in Congress that can't get shit done. They have been talking about this for 2 fucking years, and they can't come to a goddamn conclusion. So they kick the can down the road. They give in to 3 or 4 pussies in the conference who are scared to play 9 conference games, and they stick us with 8 conference games and 16 teams in the goddamn league. So we're gonna have 16 teams next year. You're gonna play half of them. I don't know which half. No one knows. We don't know. It'll be completely random, just like in 2020. This team will go play there in week 1. That team will play home here and there in week 2. Then you go here. Completely random. I hope these 3 teams here, Bama, Kentucky, and Arkansas, get completely fucking screwed on next year's schedule. That's what I hope. During the COVID year when they did this, Georgia traveled to Tuscaloosa. Come on, Bama in Athens next year. Let's do it. Bama in Athens. Bama plays Tennessee in Tuscaloosa this year, right? Bama at Tennessee next year. Bama plays LSU at home this year. Bama at LSU. Bama at Georgia because we played them there in 2020. Bama at Tennessee, Bama at LSU, Bama at either Texas or Oklahoma, one of the 2 new schools, and then they can host the other one. Let's just completely rake them over the coals because, hey, Bama's not scared to play nobody. We play anybody anywhere until it come time to do it, and then you bitch, moan, cry, and complain about how hard and unfair your schedule would be because you've been, this ain't fair. We've had to play the Mississippi schools in Arkansas and Texas A&M every year for the last decade. Oh, no. You've had to play the Mississippi schools in Arkansas and Texas A&M every year? Oh, come here, Bama man. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. What a fucking joke. What a fucking joke. Tennessee's been good 1 year out of the last 25. Oh, my God. Oh, I play Tennessee every year. Jesus fucking Christ. What a bunch of fucking babies. If you play a 9-game conference schedule, you're going to play 4 or 5 good teams, and you're going to play 4 or 5 bad ones. Reality, Jack. I mean, teams go up and down. Florida used to be good. Now they're not. Georgia used to not be good. Now they are. Alabama used to be in the shitter. Now they're good. LSU is good every 3rd year. I mean, this is how it goes. You can't make your schedule every single year based on, well, we don't want to play the good teams, the teams that happen to be good right now. What I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing? Where's my assholes at? Hit the thumbs up if you're an asshole like me. Hit the thumbs up if you're an asshole like me. Only 44 thumbs up? I know for a fact there's more than 44 assholes in here. I know there's more than 44 assholes in here. Hey, Kyle Down Syndrome, do me a favor. Click this link. Click this link and come talk to Uncle Lou. Get someone to show you how to do it and come talk to Uncle Lou. Get your parents' permission. Click that link and come talk to Uncle Lou, buddy. Go get your nuts out of your mom's underwear drawer and click that link. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Morning, Lou. How are you doing?
Doing good. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Listen, I totally agree with what you're saying about the conference realignment and everything. I watched the SEC thing. Hey, I'm a Georgia fan, so I might be biased. So, my thing is Alabama is one of the major teams. They do have more teams. Do you think they're bowing, Greg Sankey is bowing down to Nick Saban as quote unquote the GOAT?
Yep, I don't know. I mean, this is going to perpetuate that rumor. I've never really bought into that Alabama runs the SEC and gets whatever they want and the refs are in on all that. I've never really bought into that. But I mean, all I've heard for 6 months is that way over half the teams were in favor of a 9-game schedule. And then this week, Saban comes out, cries and complains, and all of a sudden we're staying at 8 games. So maybe it's a coincidence. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
it doesn't have to be unanimous. It just all that has to happen to go to 9 games. It has to be at least half the teams, and apparently it wasn't. So, I wish these people would identify themselves. All I know for sure is Bama, Kentucky, and Arkansas, but there's got to be more.
No, I mean, technically that was my only question because, I mean, like I said, I watched the SEC press days over there in Destin and all that, and I mean, I saw a lot of that stuff, and I was scratching my head.
It doesn't make any sense. All I've heard from people for years is that how it's not fair. Georgia's schedule is too easy, and whatever is too hard, and Georgia ain't never played at Texas A&M. And then these fucking idiots go out here and vote to keep the same goddamn thing. It's going to be the same. You play 8 conference games, there's going to be a stadium somewhere you don't go to for 7 or 8 years because of the rotation, because you can't. The only way to play every team is to go to 9. So
exactly.
I don't understand I don't understand what these people are doing. I don't get it. And look, it's in Georgia's best interest to stay at 8. It is harder to play 9 than it is 8. I'm not saying it's not. It is harder. Of course, it's harder for everybody. It's going to be harder for Bama to go 12-0 than it used to be. It's going to be harder for Georgia to go 12-0 or 11-1. Of course, it's harder. You're playing one more conference game. Everyone's schedule is going to be harder. But there's 12 friggin' playoff teams. You can go 10-2, possibly 9-3, and still get into playoffs. So why I don't get it. I want to see good football games. I want to see Alabama and Tennessee play every year because it's a rivalry game. It's a part of college football. Why would anybody want that to go away? I want to play Auburn every year. Why would anybody want that to go away? Let me ask you this: one of the best things about Texas and Oklahoma joining the SEC was what? The rekindling of the Texas versus Texas A&M rivalry. Well, that's out the fucking window. Exactly. That's gone. You can forget that. In an 8-game schedule, you're only having one permanent opponent. That's it. And guess who Oklahoma's permanent opponent is going to be? Not Texas A&M. Texas. So Oklahoma's going to play Texas every year, which means Texas can't play Texas A&M every year. Georgia's going to play Florida every year, which means they can't play Auburn every year. Alabama's going to play Auburn every year, so Alabama can't play Tennessee or LSU every year. So we're losing all these yearly rivalry games because a couple of people's pussy hurts and don't want to play 9 conference games. It doesn't make any sense. And hopefully we'll go to 9 in 2 years, but I don't understand what we're waiting on. Why would they vote on a 1-year schedule? Why just change it for 1 year? It's just stupid. It's just stupid.
It is. I agree with you. But also, I just wanted to say that I loved your comment on the comments.
Oh, thank you.
And I want another Florida Man video sometime soon.
I'll see what I can do.
You have a good night.
All right, you too, buddy. Thank you. Yeah. It takes a long time to do those comment on the comments videos, so I appreciate the kind words. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Yeah, good morning. It's James.
Yeah, good morning, James.
So after what happened last time, I'm just going to talk some serious college football this time.
All right.
Okay. So my thoughts on this situation, I completely agree with you. I think the SEC definitely is soft for this, and I think we definitely should have gone to a 9-game schedule, especially with 16 teams in the league. But but this is what I saw. Hold on, let me pull this up. I don't know if you've seen this, but so
hold on, let me address something while you're looking up whatever you're looking up. Jeremy Garrettson, and I've seen a couple of other people ask this too. Were Texas and Oklahoma at the SEC meetings? Texas and Oklahoma were at the SEC meetings, but they did not get a vote because they're not members of the SEC at this time. So they were there to give input, but when it came time to vote, Texas and Oklahoma did not get a vote. All right, go ahead, James. Sorry about that.
So Florida, Georgia, LSU, Missouri, and Texas A&M all voted yes to the 9-game conference schedule. Every other team either voted no or no input.
Piss fucking poor. Piss fucking poor.
So only 5, or what is that? 1, 2, 3,
And
4,
you know
5
what?
out of the 4.
Who voted no input?
I don't know it.
Yeah, well, they should be fired. They should be fired immediately. Imagine you don't even have the balls to have a stance one way or the other. Well, what are we paying you for, dummy?
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Every SEC
no vote,
helmet.
no input. You're here for your input. What? No input? It really is like Congress. This really is like Congress.
I
no
own
input.
every SEC helmet. And I turned every single team that voted either no or no input upside down.
I like that. I like that idea.
I respect the hell out of Mizzou. Mizzou was the only team that's not very good that actually voted yes to the 9-game schedule, while teams like Alabama and Tennessee are either voting no or no input.
Pitiful. Absolutely pitiful.
But, yeah, I think that's going to be it for my call today.
All right, James. Appreciate you coming on, buddy. Good to hear from you, man. Thank you for taking the time. All right, let's take roll call real quick before we get back to the phone to see who's here and hanging out with us today. John Miller, Harry Legg, NCIS fanatic, Roger Dodger, not me, Mrs. Pete, Noel Squad, RB Smotta, George Scott, Faux Nickel, Ferris Paradox 1. That's like thing 1 and thing 2. The other one will be here in a little bit. Eric Cartman, Jarvis S., Christian Stuckey, Bo Hunting, Jace Vincent, Adam Anderson, Bulldog Brian, Breaking Parallels, Sharice Armistead, Matt Dummett, Ollie, Alan A., Moneyman, Jonathan Aaron, B.A., Jamie, Kyle Jonas, yeah, Danks Dog, Rack Dog, Noel Squad, Nate the Great, GP, Young Citrus, VicTube. Appreciate everybody hanging out tonight. Again, please hit the thumbs up. There's over 200 of you in here tonight. That's great, especially for a random Thursday in June, technically what some people would refer to as the off season. I really appreciate y'all tuning in for some college football talk tonight, and we got a bunch of people in the back room waiting to come on, so I'm going to get right back to the phones here really quick, because I know that's why you're tuned in, not to hear me bitch and moan. I do that enough on uploaded videos. Yeah. So make sure you're hitting the thumbs up. Remember, direct donations are what keep these live shows on the air. So if you enjoy the Uncle Lou After Dark call-in show or the other live shows that we do, please consider donating to the channel. There's a super chat right below the comments section. There's also a Cash App and a PayPal link located in the description of the video. If you have PayPal or Cash App and you want to donate that way, that would really be great. YouTube steals half your super chat before they send it to the YouTuber, which is highway robbery. It's grand larceny, too, in my opinion. There's the PayPal link there. And like I mentioned, there's a Cash App. All that's in the description of the video. You can attach a note, a question, a comment, or a troll attempt. Either one, either of those, to your super chat, your PayPal, your Cash App, and I'll be happy to read it and respond. But just keep in mind, if you do attempt to troll me through that, the response will be appropriate. The response, I will respond accordingly and appropriately. Keep that in mind. Thank you. You're good people. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Uncle Lou, how you doing?
Doing good. And yourself?
I'm doing really good, man. And
That's
hey,
good.
I just wanted to tell you that I really appreciate how you are so sensitive to people's feelings, man. I really love that.
Yeah. These people's feelings matter. Yeah, they matter.
They really do.
Yeah.
They really, really do. But first of all, I mean, this is so sad, man. I mean, and I think Saban finally got his way after he cried, pissed, and moaned and drug a powder puff across his pussy to get this 8-game schedule, man.
Yeah. The only thing worse than that.
Fuck?
The only thing worse than that is the fans in the comment section that enjoy seeing 2 FCS games a year.
Right. I mean, who wants to see Georgia play fucking Kent State and Alabama play fucking Troy, man? Come on.
That's what I mean. These are the same people that have spent the last 6 months going, can't believe Georgia's playing Ball State and Middle Tennessee and Alabama's playing Charleston Southern and, but then you're voting for less conference games and then you're a fan of college football and you're in the comment section applauding that. What a joke.
Right. I mean, what fucking sense does that make, man? I mean, let's Let's play the best teams, man. Let's play every other year, man. Let's fucking, let's get down to business here, man.
Yeah, I get it that the goal is to win national championships and make the playoffs. And in a 4-team playoff, that's really hard to do. So staying at 8 conference games and having that rotation we had, it made sense. Plus, we've just been doing it forever. But you're expanding at the same time that the playoffs are expanding, and it just makes sense to now go to 9 games. You can equalize the schedule, and teams can still get into playoffs because there's margin of error in a 12-team playoff that didn't exist in a 4-team playoff.
Exactly. You can go 9-3 and still make the fucking playoffs.
Tennessee and Alabama both would have made the playoffs last year, but instead they vote no on a 9-game conference schedule. It makes no, make it make sense. You can't.
Right, Uncle Lou. Hey, man, and I want to ask you a favor, man. Can you do something with KB Black, man? Can you like put him out of business finally?
I've been on his show a couple of times. I actually like him. Now I know he's a Bama fan, and they're a little bit slow. They can't help it, but I like Kangaroo Black. Yeah, I watch his live streams whenever I can, and I've been on with him a couple of times too.
Right on.
But I don't mind educating him if I have to.
I've heard you on there, Uncle. Hey, man, Dude, I love your show, man. You are absolutely the best, man. You're absolutely the best. I love you. Let you go, and go Dogs.
Yeah, buddy. I appreciate you calling in, man. It was good to hear from you, and thanks for the kind words. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou, though, and two, and also in addition to that as well. Into the world, but I don't get it. I really don't get it.
I don't either, man. I'm kind of curious, though. Like, I just want to ask you this question.
More money. Now that Texas and Oklahoma are in the league, but the reality is they signed the contract they signed. So, and the contract they signed is ESPN still gets to televise the home games. The number of games that a team in the SEC plays hasn't really changed. They're still going to play 12 regular season games a year, and Disney or ESPN, whoever it is, gets to televise all those home games. So that hasn't really changed. So. I mean, it's like the ACC wishes ESPN would renegotiate with them, but ESPN won't do it. I don't know that there's anything making ESPN renegotiate with the SEC. But here's the thing with me. First of all, I hate that we even have to spend or have spent as much time as we have over the last couple of years talking about money in college football.
Yeah.
That I don't watch college football because this team makes that amount of money or that team makes. I mean, I understand that the schools have to make money to survive, but let's be real here. The SEC and the Big Ten especially are making more than enough money. It's not like the SEC is getting ready to be in the poorhouse here. I mean, they're raking money in hand over fist. I'm not interested in the SEC giving me less games because they're holding ESPN hostage. I'm not interested in hearing about that. I want 9 conference. I want more interesting games.
I'm with you on that, man.
I could care less about the money aspect of it. I mean, like I said,
I agree with that, and I'm curious to see how the new schedule is going to look for that year. Obviously, I try to go to a road game every year if I can, because last year I actually went to the Georgia-Mississippi State game, and my God, that stadium is atrocious.
Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna have to let you go. To the streaming program has crashed, and I'm gonna have to reset it. But thank you for the call. It was good to hear from you. Y'all hold on StreamYard in the back room if y'all can hear me. I had to reset. The streaming program. It crashed. All right, I think we're back on. Let me know in the comments if we're back on and y'all can hear me now. Sorry, but OBS crashed. The streaming program crashed, and I had to reset it, so I apologize for that. Let me know in the comments if we're back on, though, and then we'll get back to the callers. Okay. Yeah. Again, sorry about that. I use OBS. It's a program you use for live streaming, and it crashed on me. And disconnected the stream. So I apologize for that. But I think we're back on now. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
What up, Lou?
What's up, buddy?
Not much.
Tell me how dumb I am.
I don't even say you're dumb, but you're crying over for nothing. So you got to check it out. If we go to a 9-system game, right, SEC is stacked. Ain't nobody in the other conference plays a harder schedule than anybody right now. Georgia plays, well, even their soft scheduling, everybody's calling it, next year is harder than most other conference hardest teams.
Right.
If we go to a 9-system, we're going to beat the shit out of ourselves. And you're going to have a year, even Georgia's going to have a 2-10 loss, you know? So,
well, yeah, but this is the argument.
All other conferences are going to cry that we have a 10-2, a 9-3 going into the playoffs when they can't even play half the schedule we got.
But they cry now. That's what I'm saying. But like now, like they say that's why they can't get in is because they play a 9-game conference schedule. And we tell them, no, that had nothing to do with it. But now here we are saying the same thing. It don't make no sense to me. So you don't mind playing Georgia once every 8 years?
I would like, I wish, as a fan, I would love to have that 3-6-6. I would love to have, LSU's my team. I'd rather have played Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, or Auburn, or Ole Miss as a solid 3 and just run the gauntlet.
Well, me too. But when was the last time LSU played in Sanford Stadium? 2014.
It's been a while.
I think it was 2014, 9 years ago. And this is going to continue if we keep 8 games.
But we both know, and everybody else in the SEC knows, the Big Ten, Pac-12, all of them are cry their ass off if a 9-3 team gets in a playoff.
But they cry now. What's the difference?
Well, just let them cry some more.
They cry now when 2 SEC teams get in.
Let's guarantee that we get 4 teams a year because we're going to have it. SEC's going to get 3 or 4 teams a year in the playoffs. And this, sooner or later, it's going to stack up that it's going to be a SEC 4 semifinals teams. It's going to happen.
I think the SEC is good enough to navigate a 9-game schedule and still get 2 or 3 teams into the playoffs in a 12-game
They might,
system.
but how the politics in the SEC too is all screwed up because even with a 8-4, they can still do it every other year that you're playing. We're playing Georgia or Tennessee every other year. They can do that. They can make it happen, or every 3 years. They can make that happen if they really wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's all I had to say, man. I appreciate it.
All right,
this is my second time watching the show. I enjoyed it. I watched your first stream last night. I don't know. You had some guys that, like were retarded or something. They trying to talk.
Edward?
I don't know.
Probably Edward.
Yeah. But anyway, I really enjoyed your show.
Yeah, buddy. I appreciate you coming on, man.
All right.
Thanks. Yeah. All right. If you just if you tuned back in, I apologize again. The software that I use for the live stream in OBS, it crashed, and I had to reset it to get the stream back up and running. So I apologize. I apologize for that. I appreciate those of you who have tuned back in, though. There was a super chat too. Let's see. Twisted Rooster, thank you for the super chat. He said, "Thanks for being a supporter and inspiration of the small YouTubers, my friend." I'm a small YouTuber myself, sir. I'm a small YouTuber myself. I had plenty of people to help me out. I still have people to help me out. And so I don't mind doing the same either for people that are just getting started. I don't mind at all. There's over 1 billion people watching YouTube at any given time. So there's some YouTubers are funny about, they won't mention any other YouTuber's name. I've been blocked from comment sections of other YouTubers just because they don't want anyone else that's watching them to watch me. There's a lot of people that are like that on YouTube. It's ridiculous. There's plenty of eyeballs to go around. Rising tide. What is it? A rising tide raises all ships or whatever. I don't mind helping people out at all. Like I said, I had a lot of people to help me in the beginning, and anytime somebody has ever asked me for help, I've tried to do the same. I've tried to do the same. I don't know how much help I could possibly be to somebody, but if somebody takes the time to ask me, then I feel like I owe it to them to take the time to answer them. So, thank you for the super chat and the kind words, and I wish you continued success over there on your Dirt Pecker show on the Twisted Rooster YouTube channel. Good morning, but you're on with Uncle Lulo.
Hey, Lou. So let me get this straight, man. The same program and the same coach that once advocated for as many as 10 conference games in a full 12 Power 5 schedule all of a sudden pulls out and they say, "Oh no, we only want 8 conference games." Just kidding.
Make it make sense. Yeah. What's the deal? I don't get it either. It makes no sense.
I want you to tell me how many people you know who are college football fans that in 2020 had that 10 conference game schedule and said, "Oh man, you know what? I want less SEC games. I want less games that matter."
Nobody. I mean, that was as weird as that. Like, that was a weird year, and there was a lot wrong with that year, but not the conference scheduling. The conference scheduling was amazing with 10 conference games. Yeah. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was fun. Like, even as a Florida fan, having Ole Miss as an opener, that was a fun game to watch. Like that, and how often do you get to play Ole Miss? Not that often, you know. I mean, whatever, man. Like,
I don't get it either. I don't get it at all. There's just so many things that make sense about going to 9 games in 2024. Texas and Oklahoma joining the league, going from 14 teams to 16 teams, doing away with divisions, and the college football playoff is expanding from 4 teams, which is really hard to get into, to 12. Why wouldn't you now make the decision to go to 9 games, pick a permanent schedule format? Because all they've done here is push this argument 1 year down the road. That's all they've done. I had people on Twitter telling me today, calm down, they're going to 9 games in 2025. You don't know that. What's going to change between now, in the mind of Nick Saban, in the mind of Mark Stoops, in the mind of Arkansas, in the mind of whoever else voted no on 9 games? What's going to change between today and a year from today that's going to make them say, okay, now I want to play 9 games? What could possibly change? Now, I'm not saying we won't go to 9 games, but what is it that's going to change between now and then that's going to make those people change their mind? I don't know what it is.
Yeah, real quick, shout out Missouri, because they're one of those teams that are on the bubble of getting to bowl eligibility every year, who said we still want an extra conference game. Shout out Missouri. Yeah. And shout out Scott Strickland for finally doing something good for our program for voting yes for this.
Alabama fans who Nick Saban has yelled at Alabama fans in post-game press conferences for not showing up for games and for leaving at halftime when they're playing Georgia Southern and Ball State. They're not leaving early if you're playing Texas or OU.
Nothing has stopped him,
or Georgia or Florida or Tennessee or South Carolina or Mizzou or Kentucky or Vandy or LSU or Ole Miss or Mississippi State. Why wouldn't you want more of the games that people want to see? I don't understand.
Yeah, nothing has ever stopped him from scheduling, 2 more Power 5 opponents instead of 2 more like FBS schools or Roast Beef State or Tuscaloosa Community College. Or whatever.
It's his own doing. That's it's real easy to come out and say, I support a 12-game Power 5 schedule and then schedule 3 Group of 5 schools. That's real easy to do. Anybody can do that. You can say anything. It's what you do that matters. So the fact that Nick Saban goes around preaching that he wants a 12-game Power 5 schedule, but then continues to schedule 2 or 3 Group of 5 and FCS teams a year, that's what matters. The scheduling is what matters, not what he says. He spent the last 6 months saying he wants a 9-game conference schedule. When it came time to vote, he wanted an 8-game schedule. So I don't really care what Nick Saban has to say anymore. I only care what he does. And what he does is he doesn't schedule 12 Power 5 opponents, and he doesn't vote for a 9-game SEC schedule. So the proof is in the pudding.
Well, I'll let you go here and get to the other callers. Have a good night.
All right, buddy. Yeah, appreciate you coming on. And you still have one of the greatest names in the history of the comment section. That was the guy what calls himself Tall for My Height, which is one of the greatest names. One of the greatest names ever, like I said. Homegrown Cowboy. What's up, buddy? Thank you for hitting that PayPal. It's very generous of you. Thank you. He says, Homegrown Cowboy here, just wanted to say hello. Hello to you. I feel like I haven't seen you in a while. I'm not talking about in the comment section. I'm talking about like I used to see you like sometimes on the VicTube stream, or it seems like I haven't seen you on there in a while. Hope everything's okay. I'm sure it is. Just busy, I'm sure, like everybody else is. But anyway, hope you're doing well. And I really appreciate you helping to support the show and the channel by hitting that PayPal link. That means a lot. Direct donations is what keep these live shows on the air. So big shout out to you. Twisted Rooster as well. Y'all check out Twisted Rooster. Any Carolina Gamecock fans in here? Look, you know how I am. I don't. I like watching entertaining college football fans. I don't care who their favorite team is. I realize that there's a lot of people who only want to listen to people who are fans of their own team or whatever. But that's not me. So if you're like me and you just like entertaining college football content, check out Twisted Rooster. He is a Carolina fan, but I don't even like watching people who I don't know they're a fan of. I would rather know who they're a fan of when I'm watching them. Or if they don't show their face, I won't watch them either. I'm weird about that, too. That's why I don't watch that SG1 Sports guy. I'm sure he's a great guy, but I'm not interested in watching it. He tries to hide who he's a fan of, too. Now, he's said it a couple of times, but he tries to hide who he's a fan of and doesn't show his face. And like I said, that's his business. He's got a successful channel. It's nothing. I'm not saying he's doing anything wrong. I'm just, me personally, I want to see who's talking to me, and I want to know who they're a fan of. That's just how I feel about it. That's just how I feel about it. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
What's up, Lou? It's your favorite Tennessee Hill Jack.
What's up, Hill Jack?
I just wanna piggyback on the last caller. I mean, I really want to have the 9-game SEC conference or SEC schedule because it's just more entertaining. Like it's just like I live right next to MTSU, like right down the street, which is Alabama's first opponent.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's LSU's playing Florida State. Florida State's not in the SEC, but at least it's going to be an entertaining game. So like when opening weekend of college football, that's the game I'm putting on. Like I don't want to see MTSU play Bama when they're going to get beat by 100.
Yeah.
So and the SEC is hands down the most entertaining conference because like I want to have the 3-game permanent like rivalry. Like I think Tennessee should have Bama, maybe Kentucky and Florida, maybe Vandy, the interstate.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Rivalry.
Like, do these people just not care about the rivalry games anymore? I mean, I thought one of the reasons we liked college football is because of the things it has that the NFL doesn't, like regional rivalries that have gone on for 100 years. Georgia and Auburn have been playing longer than any two teams in the SEC, period. Longer than Georgia, Florida, longer than Auburn, Alabama. I'm not saying it's a bigger rivalry today than Auburn, Alabama. That's not what I'm saying, but they've been playing longer. And if we don't go to a 9-game schedule, that's done. The Georgia and Auburn playing every year is over. If we don't go to a 9-game schedule, it's over.
Yeah, and then I was talking to my dad about it, like when we were talking about Oklahoma and Texas coming in the SEC. We were talking about. I was like, man, because I never like watched. I mean, I've watched the games obviously, but I've never been able to like get invested into the Red River rivalry just because they're not in my conference. But I also said, man, I really want to see the Texas A&M.
Yeah, you've never seen that at your age. You've never seen it.
I've never seen it.
And that used to be, that was Thanksgiving weekend every year. And look, I wasn't nearly the college football fan back then when I was a kid that I am now, but I watched the Texas and Texas A&M game every year, every Thanksgiving weekend for 10 years growing up as I started to become a college football fan. And then all of a sudden it was gone. And, it was okay. Life went on. But when Texas and Oklahoma were announced to the SEC, that was one of the first things that came to my mind. Oh, we could rekindle the Texas A&M rivalry. But we're not going to do that if we don't go to a 9-game schedule because Texas is going to play Oklahoma every year, which means they're not going to play Texas A&M every year. They'll play them every other year, but there's nothing special. If you play everybody every other year, then no team is special at that point.
Yeah, and then also like
it's ridiculous.
As a younger fan, I've literally never seen Tennessee play Mississippi State or who else? Like I've never seen us play Auburn. I mean, I know we played them a few years ago, but I wasn't as big.
You've never seen Georgia play at Texas A&M. Nobody has.
Nope.
And Texas A&M's been in the SEC since 2011, and ain't a soul on planet Earth alive today that's ever seen Georgia play at Texas A&M ever.
I've never
and they've
seen
been in the
Bama
SEC for
Florida.
12 years, whatever the fuck.
I want to see these games. Like,
yeah, Auburn. When's the last time Florida played at Auburn? Can somebody tell me?
Nope.
What was it? 12 years ago? When's the last time Florida played at Auburn? I'd love to know.
Also, it opens up. Yeah, say Tennessee
Ridiculous.
Tennessee, we go to a 9-game schedule. Say we play a red hot LSU team, and we get beat by them. We go 9-3 or something like that. We're still making the playoffs because if we beat all the other guys we're supposed to beat.
Yeah, if you go 9-3 in the SEC, you're still going to have a shot at the playoffs because if you win 9 games, you're going to have some wins over some pretty good teams. So yeah, you'll have 3 losses, and it'd be maybe you get in. It depends what some other teams do. If you go 10-2, you're definitely getting in.
Yeah, say we get beat by Bama, Georgia, LSU, but like who?
And maybe you beat Texas and Oklahoma or something. I mean, like so you would have a chance to get in. Yeah, of course. And if you go 10-2, you're definitely getting in. So yeah, it just makes no sense. The Alabama Tennessee game's going away. The Georgia Auburn game's going away. You're not going to get Texas and Texas A&M. This is if we stick with an 8-game schedule. Now next year, who knows? Nobody knows what we're going to do. Next year, it's just a make-believe schedule. Greg Sankey's just going to make it up, just like they did in 2020, the COVID year. There's going to be no rhyme or reason. Now I'm sure Georgia will play Florida. I'm sure Alabama will play Auburn. I'm sure Texas will play Oklahoma.
Who's Tennessee playing? But we play Vanderbilt. Like what kind of game?
You might still play Alabama. I mean, who knows? But it's going to be up to Greg Sankey. Greg Sankey's just going to randomly assign 8 opponents to every team, and it's going to be a one-off, 1 year, 1 deal thing.
Yeah.
So
and also just the 9-game schedule. That's going to bring in so many more fans because who in the right mind wants to watch USC steamroll everybody except when they get one tough game like Utah or something like that?
Yeah.
Like who wants to watch that over SEC teams battle? I mean, just that's gonna be game of the year type games almost every week.
Yeah. Tall for my height, the same way Georgia has played at Auburn 6 times since Texas A&M joined the SEC, but Florida has played at Auburn 0 times since Texas A&M joined the SEC. It's because there's one team, every team in the SEC has one team left that they have not played at their stadium since at least 2012.
I have no idea.
Florida has the 3 trips to A. See, the COVID year messed up the rotation because you had to add games that weren't supposed to be played that year. So COVID added some games to some people's schedule, but they didn't then go in and alter future schedules. They kept future schedules the same. So that's why Florida has played at Texas A&M. You say 3 times. I don't know if that's. I don't. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just, if you say that, I believe you. But that's why something like that could have happened, because games were added to the schedule in 2020 that weren't in the rotation. That's why.
Yeah, and SEC. I just want to see good football. I want to see entertaining football. I don't care if Tennessee goes 8-4. I just want to see good football.
Yeah, I hear you.
Thanks for having me on, Lou. Take it easy, man.
Yeah, buddy. Great call, man. Appreciate you calling in. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, what's up, Lou?
Hey, buddy.
Listen, I haven't been keeping up too much. I've been busy out of town working, but what's going on with that 8-game, 9-game that's Nick Saban's fault? What's going on with that?
Alabama voted to stay at an 8-game schedule.
So they chose not to do it. That doesn't make sense to me.
Me either.
I mean, I believe you. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to deny that. But
it happened about 3 hours ago. They held the vote about 3 hours ago.
Well, I wonder what that's all about, because Alabama should be prepared to play anyone, right? And I'm a huge Bama fan, as you know, but that's confusing.
Yeah.
Another thing, the only thing that I saw about that, when they interviewed Nick Saban, he said, as far as scheduling the Power 5 for 12 games, I had heard on that. It's no one would schedule back. No one would take the offer.
Right. Yeah.
He's reached out for all Power 5s, and they refused to do it, considering that they didn't want to face Bama along with their, conference schedule and all that. That's another thing. Bama opening with cupcakes. We've only done that the last couple of years. You've noticed we've been involved in all the little classics in the last decade. Florida State, name it, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So that's all garbage. But this year ought to be exciting. I'm a little disappointed that Alabama would vote, because I'm a big fan of the 9-game thing too.
Yeah.
I have no earthly idea what that's
now,
about.
the good news is, hopefully this is just a 1-year deal that they voted on. So they're going to get together again next offseason and vote again. So maybe enough people will change their mind between now and then that we can go to a 9-game schedule starting in 2025. but it's going to be an 8-game schedule in 2024. That schedule will be announced on the SEC network on June 14th.
Right. And the success of Georgia here recently, which, I tip my hat, that excites me as an Alabama fan because I want that rivalry to kick off, and I want it to be every other year, however we do that.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because right now we don't play you guys at every
every 6 years on average. Like y'all played in Athens in 2015. We played in Tuscaloosa in 2020. I think y'all are scheduled to come back to Athens like in 2026 or something, but the schedule will be changed by then, so who knows?
Now that Kirby's got the program up to snuff and right there, some would say above, I think that's an exciting game if it could almost happen every year, or every other year, or whatever the case may be. I mean, you talk about ratings, that would be, other than the SEC championship game, and that's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
I hope to see you in December, though. I mean, Alabama's very underrated, I think. I mean, the quarterback situation, the only thing about that Buckner, and I'll let you go, the guy can move. I mean, I don't know about his passing, but he can run. I mean, he's very, I don't know how to put it. He's an accurate quarterback, but he's not known to throw, but he can slip through, and he goes between the tackles. That's what's interesting about him. But we'll see, man. Hopefully they'll do that ground game thing and get the tight ends involved and mimic basically what Georgia's doing, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think that's what Bama's going to try to do, kind of turn back the clock to what they used to do, kind of 6 or 7, kind of like pre-Lane Kiffin, back in like the Derrick Henry days, kind of pound a rock, time of possession, play keep away, play good defense. Yeah,
I think you get Haynes a couple of years, and it's going to be, he's going to be exciting to watch, and that Richard Young kid coming in, but James McClellan, Roydell Williams, whatever. But they're going to be okay, man. The line's a little better than people think, and I just look forward to it, Lou. That's why I tune in, man. I get so damn aggravated with you, but that's what gets the views.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree with you on the offensive line, by the way, and I don't know if you've heard me mention. I mean, I really like Justice Haynes. I think he is really good and is only going to get better. I mean, he's a true freshman, and I agree with you. Alabama's offensive line, I think, will be better this year than it's been in the last 2 or 3 years.
I think it was kind of put in motion last year when they started recruiting because Nick knew that this whole throwing the ball all around the yard, Georgia put them in check on that. I mean, it's fine if you don't play a Georgia-type defense. When you do that, Bryce is going to get torn alive, and that's just the way it is. The offensive line could not hold up to that. One more thing, Malik Benson, you need to check him out. He's a transfer. He's really good. So I'm not saying Jameson Williams, but who knows? Anyway, defense will be incredible. I look forward to matching up in December, hopefully.
Yep.
Lou, I'm going to let you go and get to them, all right?
All right, buddy. Yeah, appreciate you calling in, man. Good to hear from you again. Hope you've been doing all right. Buckeyes suck 79. Thank you for the super chat. He says, I hate Georgia as a lifelong Vol, but anyone who tries to take away the fact that UJ is the top dog in the nation is clueless. UJ has owned college football for 2.5 years, and everyone's salty. But anyways, good luck this season. Yeah, I mean, now that doesn't have anything to do with what may or may not happen in 2023, but anybody that's sitting around pretending that Georgia's not the best program in college football right now is just willfully ignorant. They haven't been paying attention, or they're just so mad at Uncle Lou they can't see straight and they just refuse to admit the truth. Atypical dump. Well, there ain't much difference. Atypical Gump, thank you for the super chat. He says, Alabama 9-3 at best next year. It was a wonderful run, but it is over. I don't know about 9-3. Tennessee at home, LSU at home, Texas at home. I mean, how many of those are they going to lose? Their toughest road game is at Texas A&M. So I don't know about 9-3. Now, if there was ever a year where Alabama was going to go 9-3 over the last decade or whatever, I could see it happening. I could see it being this year, but man, it's hard to predict Alabama to go 9-3. It's hard to predict that. Hard for me anyway. It would be hilarious though. It would be hilarious. 9-game schedule, they'd probably be. What would they be on a 9-game schedule? In the SEC, they'd be 5-3 in the SEC. No, they'd be 6-3 in the SEC and maybe lose one non-con game. 8-4. That's why they voted no. Yeah. Good morning, but you're on with Uncle Ludo.
Hey, long time no speak, Lou. How's it going?
Hey, buddy, what's going on? I'm good. How are you?
Man, good. Disappointed in my coach Saban, though. Very disappointed.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'm an honest fan. And everybody talking about, oh, it ain't fair. But my thing is, fair is a place where they judge pigs. And this is a TV sport. And I'm sorry. He complained about fan attendance. I'm sorry, Nick. Folks don't want to come out to the Mississippi State game. Nobody wants to come out to the Mercer game.
Yeah.
They'll come out to LSU, Tennessee. And yes, Tennessee, LSU are good. Now Auburn's down. We sucked for like 15 years, So it's all cyclical, but even though Alabama and Tennessee could be bad at the same time, Alabama, Auburn could be bad. People still going to tune in. People still going to show up. It's still exciting. And I just think that the SEC itself, even allowing it to go to the vote, is losing money on the table. Georgia and Alabama, the two top programs in the nation, and haven't played in a regular season since 2020. That's a problem.
Yeah.
LSU, Georgia, problem. Tennessee, those guys. Tennessee, how they play LSU. That's a problem. Or Auburn, Florida is a big rivalry. Like young guys don't know that. They don't. When the last time they played? When Bush was in office? Obama was in office? I don't know.
Georgia's played Texas A&M. Like I said, Georgia's played Texas A&M one time in the 12 years Texas A&M's been in the SEC. Played them once.
And they talk and like, how come none of these people voted no? Ask the the new CFP, why not make strength of schedule right behind conference champions, the automatic bids?
Yeah.
Why not say that?
Well, plus you're going to 12 teams. I mean, so let's
Yes.
Whether you play 8 conference games or 9, if you go 8-4, you don't deserve to be in, regardless of who you played. If you go 10-2, you're getting in. If you go 10-2 in the SEC, and especially with a 9-game conference schedule, you're getting into playoff. If you go 10-2, and that should be good enough.
Yes, and plus, like Alabama's pretty much after this year because South Florida's not a Power 5. They're playing 2 Power 5 teams a year out of conference. And I hope that these teams don't cut out one of those nice Power 5 opponents because they playing an extra conference game. Okay, the extra conference game could be Vanderbilt or Kentucky. You really think that's going to be worse than playing like Ohio State or Wisconsin?
Right.
Yeah. And one thing I say this, I hear people talking about they'll lose a guaranteed home game. Well, a lot of these teams losing guaranteed home games already by agreeing to play neutral site games.
Yeah, I'm sick of that too.
Yeah, so my last thing is, Lou, before I run, thanks for taking the call as usual.
Yeah.
I hope that they see how pissed off fans are about this. How upset fans are about it. They talking about trying to string up ESPN for more money, but they got these mass layoffs right now that's coming. That's not fair right there. But I just think that they're leaving so much money on the table by not having these games. And I say this, I hope Grant Sankey still schedules Alabama play Auburn, Tennessee, and LSU in 2024. Hey, you have a good one, Lou.
Yeah, you too, buddy. I appreciate you coming on. Yeah, I'll reiterate what I said a little while ago about the money part of it. Obviously, they have to make the money to support these college football programs. But the SEC would be just fine with the money they make now. It's enough money for right now. I understand everybody always wants more. But the SEC is making a ridiculous amount of money per year right now. Plenty of money to maintain their current level of where they're at in the world of college football and athletics in general. They don't need more. They're not the ACC or the Pac-12. The SEC is not in a position where they need more money to survive and keep up. They're not in that position. They have got plenty of money. So is the SEC contract worth more with the addition of Texas and Oklahoma? Probably. But you knew that when you signed them. You knew that when you signed them. And you knew the contract and the agreement you were under with ESPN. And again, it's not like the SEC is barely keeping its head above water like the ACC or the Pac-12. They've got plenty of money. And to stick us with an 8-game schedule so that they can hold up ESPN for another $50 million a year or whatever, I could care less. I'm not interested in hearing that as an excuse. I'm not. I want to see good football games. That's what I want to see. I don't want to have to wait 12 years to play at Texas A&M. I don't want to have to wait 12 years to watch Florida play at Auburn. I don't. So. And I don't want to hear anything about this 177 deal where you play one permanent opponent plus 7 random. I don't want to hear that. I'm not interested in any plan with one permanent opponent. I'm not interested in that. I want to see Georgia and Florida every year, and I want to see Georgia and Auburn every year. I want to see Alabama and Auburn every year, and I want to see Alabama and Tennessee every year. I want to see Texas and Oklahoma every year, and I want to see Texas versus Texas A&M every year. If you're just playing every team every other year, that's no longer a rivalry. Oh, Georgia plays Auburn every other year. Yeah. Well, and we also play Arkansas every other year, and Oklahoma every other year, and Texas A&M every other year, and LSU every other year. So everybody's an every other year rival now, except for Florida. We still play Florida every year, but everyone else is just an every other year. I'm not interested in that. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
What's going on, Lou? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, first time calling in. Appreciate you having me on here. Yeah, I feel your disappointment on the veto of the 9-game schedule. It's personally, I don't know. I am just getting the sense that Nick Saban is losing his competitive nature that he once had. I don't know if he sees the writing on the wall, but I for one am just tired of waiting to play one single team every 6 or 7 years. I share your frustration on that. And for example, we've only played Texas A&M once since they've joined the conference, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, once, and that was the COVID year in Athens when there was 5,000 people there to see it. Never played there.
Now that I think of it, I think that's the only road game Georgia's never been to, right? I don't think we never played in Kyle Field before.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'd have to go back. I don't know what happened in the 50s and 60s or what. Maybe, but not that I know of. Definitely not since they've been in the SEC.
Anytime recently.
No.
Yeah, it's. I don't know. It's you just seen Saban complaining about one thing after another, left and right, these past couple of seasons, and I don't know if that's just him dealing with his frustration that his team is not what it used to be due to other teams catching up, but I'm honestly getting really tired of it. It's like first he's complaining about the NIL deal, then he's complaining, it's a rebuilding year, we're going to come back with a vengeance. Well, how'd that turn out? And now it's the 9-game schedule. I don't know.
Yeah. RB Smata, I don't know what you're talking about in the comments. I don't think you know what you're talking about either, because you're saying something about divisions. There aren't any divisions. Divisions are gone, effective immediately. This is the last year of divisions. 2024 is going to be no divisions, 8-game schedule. There aren't any divisions, so I don't know what you're talking about everything is staying the same. Everything's not staying the same. Nothing can stay the same. We play 8 teams now. You can't add 2 teams to the SEC and everything stay the same, or else you play 9. Or Texas and Oklahoma are going to have nobody to play. So, no. All of next year's schedule is getting completely thrown out the window, and it's starting over from scratch. Greg Sankey's going to sit in a room sometime between now and June 14th and just randomly come up with an 8-game schedule for every SEC team. And hopefully we get at least one rivalry game for each team. Hopefully we get Georgia, Florida. Hopefully we get Auburn, Alabama. Hopefully we get Texas, Oklahoma. But, Greg Sankey's just going to make it up. There aren't any divisions. So there is no, you're playing this set of opponents plus one thing. There is none of that. There is none of that for next year.
I kept seeing this thing on Facebook where Alabama and Auburn were going to join the East, and the rest were going to remain in the West with Texas.
Those are people who just don't know what they're talking about. There's no divisions are gone.
I know we're going to a 4-game pod scheduling type deal. Like there's going to be squads of 4.
That was the hope, but that's out the window now with an 8-game schedule. So I mean, no. Maybe in 2025 they go to the 3-6-6 model, but
yeah.
not now.
Another
not
thing
next
was
year.
Another thing was Bama fans, some, I don't know, realistic or like, what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of ignorant Bama fans seem pretty confident. I don't know if that's the case. Now, I don't know if I don't think Bama's going to be terrible, but it's hard for me to predict them winning the West right now with the amount of question marks they have. You've seen their O-line be suspect a couple seasons now. You have no idea who's the starting quarterback is going to be. I mean, their defense have gotten a lot softer. I don't know if their defensive coordinator is going to get their defense to where it was or where it needs to be. Like, so many question marks. It's really hard to predict them to win the West right now. I'm not saying it can't happen, but right now it seems like the safe bet would be LSU because they don't have the same issues or nearly as many question marks as Alabama right now.
Yeah, I kind of agree with what you're saying. Like, this might be the first time in a long time that Alabama ends up not being the pick to win the SEC. I don't even remember when the last time Alabama wasn't picked to win the SEC West, but it has to have been 10 years ago or more.
Yeah,
and they might not be the pick to win the West this year.
From what I've seen, it just seems like they're regressing. Like a couple of seasons ago, they were still a really good team, but they weren't dominant in winning their games, even though they made it to the national championship. And last year, they just regressed even more. And they say they very easily could have been defeated, but they also very easily could have been 7-5.
Yeah. They almost lost to Texas. They almost lost to Texas A&M. They almost lost to Ole Miss.
And here's a lot of things people don't mention. They also almost blew a 28-0 lead against Arkansas when they were playing them.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That was the game Bryce Young went down, but that was a terrible third quarter. I think they were up 28-0 at halftime, and then like in the third quarter, it was like 28-21.
Yeah, I think their toughest road game. I mean, I think this is just because it's at the beginning of the season where they're still trying to like get a feel for where they are. They have their players at. I think that their toughest home game is going to be against Texas.
Yeah.
Because to me, that to me is a must-win game for them. Because if they already have a loss in the second week, they're already on thin ice for the rest of the season. Like the way I see it, they can't afford to take another loss.
Yeah, to be on life support of another loss would most likely knock them out of the playoffs, just like it did last year. So yeah, if they lose that Texas game, they're going to be
and we might have to
trouble.
hear them complain about a 10-2 if they even get there. 10-2 Alabama team not making the playoffs again.
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
But anyway, Lou, I appreciate you having me on, man. It was good to be on here, and I will hope to catch you again sometime in the near future. I'll let you get to these other guys.
All right, buddy. I appreciate you coming on, man. It was good to hear from you. All right, if you want to come on, now's a good time to do it. I'll post a link in the comment section again. Joe DiMaggio, what's up, buddy? Thank you for hitting the PayPal to help support the channel. I really do appreciate that. Hope you're having a good week. I'm is. Sean D, thank you for hitting the PayPal as well, sir. Good to see you. He says, great show, Lou. Mad props from the ADs at Wofford and Samford and the UT Martins and Chattanooga to Sankey's SEC for keeping their athletic departments afloat as SEC November Cupcake Saturday survives. Yeah. I think that's what bugs other people the most. There's a lot of things about the SEC that bug people. If I had to pick like the one thing that I hear the most from people that bugs them, it's SEC teams who play FCS opponents in November. Like there's some people would just complain in general about the SEC scheduling FCS teams, but you hear particular complaints about SEC teams scheduling FCS teams in November. Yeah, I do hear that a lot. Swaggy. What's up, Swaggy? Thank you for hitting the PayPal link tonight. He says, I read on the ESPN article that the 8 conference schedule for 2024 was temporary. Hopefully that turns out true and they go to 9 in 2025. Well, it's temporary in that they voted it in for 1 year. So they'll just be right back. They'll be right back in this situation again next year to revote. And they could vote for 8, they could vote for 9, and vote for whatever they want, I guess. But the thing is, it's been 2 years since we've known this was coming. 2 years. It was, it was 2 years ago when Texas and Oklahoma was announced to the SEC. So all these people that voted today, they've known for 2 years that this day was coming. They've had 2 years worth of meetings. I'm sure they've paid an ungodly amount of money to these consulting firms or whoever it is to go out and do studies on, well, what would happen if we do an 8-team schedule and the records are this, or a 9-game schedule and the records are all that. 2 years. And they do nothing. They do nothing. They punt the ball. They kick the can down the road for another year. That's it. And then I really hope I find out how each school voted, which particular way. I want to know who didn't vote at all. Like the caller that said there was, certain schools voted yes, certain schools voted no, and certain schools didn't vote at all. How do you have no opinion on the matter? I don't understand. That's look. If a school votes no, I disagree, and I can argue against it, but at least you stood behind your conviction and voted. This is how I feel. I'm voting this way. You got some of these schools been sitting around with their thumb up their asshole for 2 years, I guess. 2 years, you've got no opinion? Well, give somebody the job that, quit. Or quit, retire, transfer, something. These schools that didn't vote, put somebody in that job that has a backbone and will vote. What is this? I'm not voting. So I don't know what one more year is going to do. I hope, like you say, that they'll go to 9 then in 2025. That's what I hope. But I don't know what could change between now. Let's say you're Alabama, you're whatever school that voted no. Okay. What could change between now and 1 year from now that causes you to change your mind? And I'm seriously asking. And if somebody in the comments knows, tell me. What is it? What is it that could change in the next 12 months that would make Nick Saban grow a set of balls and change his vote to yes? $2.5 million? That's like $2 to you. Would you change your mind? Are you for sale for $2? Because that's what $2.5 million is to these schools. It's about $2 to me or you. Are you for sale for $2? Wow. They make enough money to I said it 100 times. Everybody wants more money, but the SEC ain't hurting for money. That's so. If that's the reason, so you're telling me if ESPN doesn't give us more money, they're going to vote no again? Pitiful. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Lou.
What's up, bud?
I just want to share my thoughts about, the 8-game conference schedule. First of all, I think it's kind of stupid because it's like they're trying to ruin the rivalries a little bit, and I don't like that because it's like instead of playing them every year, it's like we're having to rotate every once a year or so. I just don't like it for some reason.
Well, apparently, $2.5 million is more important than these rivalry games, from what I'm hearing in the comments section.
Exactly.
That's fucking insane.
I mean, exactly. They shouldn't just
throw away all these rivalry games over $2 million. They're making $100 million a year, but they need $2 million more, or else we're getting rid of all these rivalry games. That's insanity. Insanity.
I know. This is why I hate when the conferences care about the money more than rivalries. They should just care about the rivalries and fans, not just the stupid money they make.
Listen. If the SEC gives us the games that we want to see, the money will come. They may have to wait because they signed a contract. So they may have to wait till that next contract comes up. But if the SEC gives people the games they want to see, what do you think ESPN's going to make more money on? Alabama versus Charleston Southern or Alabama versus Oklahoma? They're going to make more money selling commercials for Alabama, Oklahoma. Give us the games we want to see. People will watch. The ad rates will go up, and then ESPN will give you more money. It makes no sense. $2.5 million to throw away all these rivalry games. Insanity.
Yeah.
Insanity.
Yeah, I mean, if Oklahoma and Texas didn't decide to move to the SEC in first place, none of this would have happened. Like it's basically Oklahoma and Texas' fault, basically. So
Well, then it's the SEC's fault.
yeah, exactly. Which makes it the SEC's fault because first of all, it was Oklahoma and Texas' fault since they wanted to move to the SEC, and now it's the SEC's fault too. So so it's technically both of their faults.
Right. Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't, I just think it's kind of stupid how they're doing that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you, buddy. Hey, thank you for the call. It was good to hear from you. Throwing hands Irish, which could be any Irish person on the planet. Thank you for the super chat. He says, I feel like if you're going to play an FCS school, it should be an in-state school. How do you feel about that, Lou? I would prefer that when Georgia plays an FCS school, it be an in-state school. I don't know that there should be a rule in place dictating that because not every state would be able to do that. It's like some states have more FCS schools than they do big universities, and some states have more big universities than they do FCS schools. So it would be impossible, say, it would be impossible for every Power 5 team to schedule one FCS opponent in their own state. Because if you make that as a rule, there's going to be some FCS teams in some states that have no Power 5 team to play. There'll be some Power 5 teams where there's not enough FCS teams for each Power 5 team to schedule one. So I agree with you in theory and in principle. Keep the money in state, support the schools in your own state, give the money to, in-state programs. I'm with you there. I'm with you there 100%. But I don't think you can put a rule in place mandating that because I just don't think there's any way really to force that to happen. Dylan Deloney says those people that did 8 games for the SEC when Texas and OU joined deserve a 5-star dummy. I agree with you. In fact, I couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree. Do it. Yeah, 5-star dummy. There you go. One more time for good measure. 5-star dummy. Yeah, third time's the charm there. And that too, and also. Nicholas, thank you for the super chat. He says, OSU fans keep saying Michigan won because of 2 big plays, but they were outscored 28-3 in the second half. Why don't OSU fans ever admit defeat? That's a great question. I asked it the other day on a video. I don't know. They can. The list of excuses that Ohio State fans has is a mile long. It really is. It's unbelievable. I've never heard an Ohio State fan say we lost the game because the team we played was better and then shut their mouth. Never heard that. Never heard that. Ever. And I asked Michigan fans the other day if they'd ever heard it, and they said no. So I'm starting to lean towards the theory that it just has never happened, ever, like in history, ever, period. I don't know. I really don't know. Anthony, thank you for hitting the Cash App tonight to help support the show, buddy. I really appreciate that. He says the SEC couldn't find Saban's pacifier. You know what? Saban might have left his pacifier on the set of Fox Sports when he showed up during the Pac-12 title game or the Big 12 title game, whichever one it was, and cried and bitched and moaned like a 3-year-old about how unfair it was that Alabama couldn't beat any of the good teams they played, and therefore they still deserved a shot in the playoffs. Remember that? He might have left his pacifier on whatever set that was he was doing that on. That's probably that's probably what went ahead and happened there. Good morning, you're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, how you doing, Uncle Lou?
I'm doing good. What's up, buddy?
Do you know the Bad Dog?
The Giants fan, Bad Dog?
Yes.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I see you in there all the time.
Oh, yeah, that's my buddy there. That's, yeah.
Vermont.
Yeah, anytime I have any questions about the NFL, that's the guy I go to. I like Bad Dog.
Yeah,
I've been watching him a long time.
Oh, yeah, he's awesome. I know him for a long time, too. So I don't think you like Notre Dame, do you?
Well, I mean, I'm a Georgia fan. I don't have any reason to particularly hate Notre Dame. I mean, but, you know.
Yeah, I like Notre Dame.
Yeah.
But your team is pretty good, too.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so you live down in Georgia?
That's right.
Yeah, okay. No, that's good. Yeah, I live in Vermont now. I used to live in New York.
Vermont.
That's why
Okay.
you
Send
like
me
the
some
Yankees.
maple syrup in that.
Oh, no, you really kidding me? Really? Do you ever hear of Craig Carden on the radio, WFAN?
No.
Well, when I call his shows, and he always asks for that.
Oh, no. I quit watching radio. I quit listening to the radio the same time everybody else did about 10 years ago.
Oh, no, I still listen to a lot of people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, from New York. I like the New York sports.
I got you.
So you're awesome. Yeah, I see you all the time in there. Do you ever see me in there?
Yeah, I see you in there.
Yeah, you always say hi to me in Bad Dog.
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
He really is. He really is a great
He's
guy.
a Yankee fan like I am.
I've tried to meet him a few times. I have some family that lives in New York, or they live in Long Island, right outside of New York City. But, you know, Bad
Oh,
Dog.
he lives way up.
Yeah, he's
No,
way up, and it's just never worked. You know, I've been up there and got in contact with him
Yeah.
ahead of time, and it's just never worked out. He's had to work and wasn't able to come down, and I wasn't able to get up or whatever. But I would love
He's
to.
only
I'd
like
love to
an
watch a
hour
football
and a half.
game with Bad Dog. I'd watch any football game with him. He's just,
Yeah,
you can
he's
tell he's a
so-
lot of fun.
Well, you could go on like him and Chris do. You could go on there and watch the game.
Well, yeah, I mean, I hang out when he does his live streams and stuff, but I mean, I'd like to
Yeah.
go like eat some wings with Bad Dog and watch a game on TV.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
that would be a lot of fun.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
He only lives like an hour and a half away from us.
yeah. Plus, I need to
only
give
Vermont.
I need to give
Oh, yeah, I
Bad
like
Dog
to
some
talk.
pointers
I'm
on his
sorry, I'm from New York.
on
I
his
like to
legs.
talk a lot.
You know, Bad Dog
Well,
skips leg day. You know that when he works. Bad Dog doesn't work out his legs. I need to go up there and teach Bad Dog how to work out his
I
legs.
know that's
He
what
skips leg day.
keeps on telling me on. Yeah, he's good
Yeah,
though. But
he's only
like
he's
that.
only muscular and fit from the waist up. I need to really go out there and straighten him up with his legs.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what part of Long Island does your family live in?
Oyster Bay.
Oh, I used to live in Glen Oaks.
Okay, yeah.
Queens.
Yep.
Live in that parkway over there. And then you said that. I know where Oyster Bay is too.
Yeah. My daughter's actually
Oh,
up there right now.
Oh, really? Down
Yep.
in Oyster Bay?
Yep.
All right. Visiting family.
Yeah, they got out of school last week, and so she went up there to spend a couple of weeks up there.
Wow, she got a. Oh, your girls probably start early, right?
Yeah, we
Because
start.
of these-
They start school here the first week of August, so they get out the third week of
No
May.
way, really?
Yeah, first week of August. Yep.
Yeah, we think up here in Vermont they start early because they start before Labor Day,
Yeah.
and I think it's stupid. But you,
Yeah, they start like
you're-
August 2nd, August 3rd, right around in there every year down here. Yeah.
probably because of the heat down there.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Or the
Yeah,
stupidity.
that's what I'm thinking.
Might be the stupidity.
Yeah,
I mean, the
well,
humidity.
they
Did I
have
say
air
stupidity? My
conditioning in
bad.
your school?
Huh?
Do they have air conditions? in their
Oh, yeah.
school?
Everything down here is air conditioned. You can't survive down here without air conditioning.
Yeah, okay. Florida does too, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it's nice talking to you, Uncle Lou. You're awesome.
All right, Bobby. I appreciate you coming on, buddy. And I'll see
come
you over on
every Thursday night. Come on
Yeah,
every
yeah, yeah.
Thursday
Usually every Tuesday and Thursday night. Yeah.
night? Okay, I'll come talk to you. Who else do you You had another person you talked to too, the older man.
The older man.
What was the older man that you used to hook up with? I think he likes Texas or something.
Tennessee BVD. You talking about?
Yeah, DVD. How's
DVD.
he doing? Yeah.
Actually, he's been in the hospital lately, but and yeah, it wasn't looking good for a while. But the most recent news seems to be a lot better. So
Man,
hopefully he'll be
he's a
coming
good
home
guy.
soon. Yeah, hopefully he'll be coming
I
home
hope
soon.
he's okay. If you talk to him, tell him bye for Mama said hello.
I'll do it. All right, Bobby. Appreciate you coming on, buddy. We'll talk to you next time. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Good morning, Uncle Lou. How
Hey,
are you?
I'm good. How are you, bud?
Good. Been watching your videos. Great videos, great content. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sometimes I get a little mouthy here and there in the comment section.
Me too.
Yeah, I won't deny that. I just wanted to ask you, because, I'm trying to search around on the internet. I remember watching Nick Saban, and I want to clarify something here. I grew up as a Notre Dame fan, still a Notre Dame fan. My son went to Alabama, so I've become, in the last 20 years, an Alabama fan. But I noticed as I'm trying to navigate the internet, I don't find where Nick Saban voted against us. So I'm kind of
Nick Saban didn't have a vote. The coaches didn't vote, but Nick Saban verbalized his disapproval of the 9-game schedule.
So is that like somewhere where somebody voted no, or is it just the yes votes? Because I'm kind of disappointed as well. I really like to see us play the best of the best, in my opinion.
Me too.
Because I think it makes for good college football, and that's what I like. I don't care whether we win or lose. I mean, I do care, but I don't. It's not like if we played the best and lost, I'm good with that. I mean,
yeah,
I think that makes for entertainment, good entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, I get the idea that for Georgia fans, for Bama fans, for a handful of other teams fans, the goal every year is to make the playoffs, and like that's why when all these other conferences used to beat me up for only playing an 8-game schedule, I would tell them this. I'd say, look, the goal isn't to play a exciting game in week 5. Not for me. The goal is to play a playoff game in January. That's the goal. So in 8 games is more conducive to do that in a 4-team playoff. But with the playoffs expanding to 12 teams and the SEC going to 16 teams, it doesn't make sense to stay at 8 games. You're going to lose a bunch of rivalry games. Alabama and Tennessee aren't going to play every year. Alabama and LSU aren't going to play every year. Georgia and Auburn aren't going to play every year. Texas and Texas A&M aren't going to play every year. You lose all that for no gain because, okay, the schedule is going to be harder because you got to play 9 SEC teams instead of 8. But you can go 10-2 and still get into a 12-team playoff. It's not an all or nothing deal like it is in a 4-team playoff where you pretty much have to run the table and win your conference to get in. I know that's not necessarily the case. A couple of teams have got in without winning the conference, but generally speaking, there's not a lot of room for error in a 4-team playoff. But when you go to 12, I mean, are you telling me somebody like an Alabama can't go 10-2 against a 9-game SEC schedule? Like, of course they can. You stack up any of the good Alabama teams that won national titles over the last 10 years, any of those teams would have gone at least 10-2 in the regular season, even if they had to play 9 SEC games. So what are we avoiding here, really? I don't know what we're avoiding. You're still going to get in the playoffs if you're good enough to get in. So I don't get it either.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
So why would you vote against it? Like, that makes no sense to me that
Nick Saban thinks the scheduling model wasn't fair. Nick Saban said it's not. The scheduling model wasn't fair. He said he said it's not fair that Alabama's 3 opponents would be LSU, Auburn, and Tennessee. He said that wasn't fair.
So it's interesting. I've watched several of his videos. I mean, I watch every press conference. I'm just that kind of guy. But I remember the video I was watching, and I forget what the whole context was, but the reporter was asking, why are you playing Mercer or some other team? And he went off on the reporter like, I want to play whoever they will bring and play. Like, I'm ready to play whatever team is available. And it's a very popular video where he completely states that, bring me, I don't control the schedule, bring me the best teams here. I want to play them because that's the only way we can get better. So I just find it weird that he would vote against it, making those types of statements. That to me is odd.
And look at this year just as, and this is just kind of funny that it works out this way, but this year, Alabama plays 8 SEC teams. Included in those teams are Auburn, LSU, and Tennessee, the 3 teams he now says he doesn't want to play. He plays 8 SEC games. And then what's his big non-con game this year? Texas.
Yeah.
Who will be in the SEC next year. So basically what Saban is saying is he doesn't think Alabama's making the playoffs this year because he's basically playing a 9-game, what would be a 9-game SEC schedule this year, Texas being the 9th SEC game. Now, it's not an SEC game.
Smart enough to
So is that
figure
what
out
Saban is
he's
telling
not.
us? Is that he's not making the playoffs this year because he's playing 9 SEC teams? Is that what he's telling us? Maybe it is.
Well, I'm unclear on what this year holds. I don't think it's going to be very good. You know, it's interesting running into a Georgia guy at Kroger, you know, last year where I was like, Georgia's going to win this thing. I mean, I knew that before we even started the season. I mean, I knew Georgia was the best team, and there's no way we would beat them. But I'm not sure. I'm uncertain of what's going on this year. It looks like it kind of.
And next year too, because the 8-game schedule next year isn't based off any current modeling. So there's no they're going to do away with division. So there's going to be 16 teams, and Greg Sankey's just going to assign each team 8 other teams to play. We don't know who they're going to be. So you know, Bama normally plays Arkansas and the 2 Mississippi schools and Texas A&M. That whole list. There's no guarantee you play those teams. You might have to play at Georgia, Florida at home, South Carolina on the road, Arkansas at home, Texas A&M on the road, at Texas. We don't know. The schedule comes out June 14th. That we'll know then.
And I don't understand the financial part of it, but wouldn't you think that the most money for the SEC would be Georgia and Alabama, Alabama, Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, Alabama, Auburn? Wouldn't that be like the most fruitful thing you could do?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if you had a 12-team playoff. You have to play the top 12 teams.
Right.
And those could be legitimately top 12 teams.
And if we go to a 9-game schedule, you'll get every game you just named at least every other year. And some of them, 3 of them, you'll get every year. But you'll play every team in the SEC at least every other year. And huge games, like you said.
Right. I mean, that seems to me like the biggest money maker. I'm in business, so money is king. So I would put the best teams together because you got to play them regardless. If you skimp out and play the chintzy teams and get into the playoffs, you're still going to have to play them.
Yeah.
There's no other way to a national championship other than play those things. Well, anyhow, I just first-time caller, just wanted to bounce that off of you, and I appreciate your content. And
yeah, appreciate you calling in. It was good to hear from you, and I hope you'll call in again. And look, I would say this to the Alabama fans, to really any fans anywhere who have spent the last 6 months saying how pitiful Georgia's schedule is. Georgia has no say-so over this schedule, not the conference part of it. Conference teams don't schedule their conference opponents. That's just not the way it works. I keep hearing comments saying Georgia keeps ducking Alabama. Georgia's not ducking anyone in the SEC. Georgia doesn't schedule its SEC opponents. Alabama doesn't schedule its SEC opponents. LSU doesn't schedule its SEC opponents. The SEC schedule is on a preset rotation. It is what it is. It can't be changed. But if you think Georgia's got a weak schedule, then you should be in favor of a 9-game schedule where everybody plays everybody every other year. But unfortunately, and not everybody, I've heard from I got to give Alabama fans some credit. The majority of Alabama fans, the majority of fans in general that I've heard from, whether it's on this show, calling in the comments section, on Twitter or Facebook or wherever else, the majority of Alabama fans and just the fans in general are in favor of a 9-game schedule. There are a few Alabama fans who are going to, just regurgitate whatever Nick Saban does because they don't know any better. But I tell Georgia fans all the time, Kirby Smart's a great coach. He's not perfect. He's made mistakes. He'll make another mistake again someday. I mean, no one's perfect. Saban ain't perfect either. It's okay to be an Alabama fan, love Nick Saban, think he's the greatest coach of all time, and still disagree with him on the 9-game versus 8-game conference schedule thing. Like, it's okay to do that. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Lou. I'm not really here to talk football, but I'm here to defend you with these racist shithead Colorado fans and libtards.
There's only a few of them.
This is it still pisses me off. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You're not racist. And please don't get mad when I ask this, but isn't your wife Asian?
Well, she's not my wife, but she is
whatever.
Asian. Yes, she's Korean.
Okay. You're dating a different race. You're not Asian. You accept everyone. I don't see you kicking off black people off of your calls. I see you having a great time talking with them, just welcoming them, and just, having a fun football talk with them.
Yeah, well, here's what I have to remind myself, and what I need to make sure everybody else understands too. Anybody that shows up in my comment section on a Colorado video and calls me racist has never seen any Uncle Lou videos at all, except for that video they're commenting on right then. So they're just they're basing that solely off the fact that I think Colorado's only winning 4 or 5 games or whatever. That like, it's not some history of watching Uncle Lou. In fact, it really, with Uncle Lou, it's the opposite. I don't even look. I don't have to defend myself against any of that. I point it out because I think it's funny and entertaining. And I get to make a troll video yesterday where I put on a BLM shirt and tell a black guy to go fuck himself.
That was
like,
funny.
that's funny to me.
Hilarious.
But you know what ends up happening when I do that? There's 3 or 4 white people in the comment section of that video telling me they're unsubscribing because I put on a Black Lives Matter shirt.
Oh,
now, never mind the fact I put it on specifically to troll a black guy. It's just the fact that I put it on. So it's on both. I get it from both sides. I made a video about Jake Fromm. There was some racist, in my opinion, racist text messages that he had. And look, I've never shied away from my opinions. Whatever side of the aisle they come down on politically, racially, whatever, I just don't look at things that way. I say what I feel. I thought what Fromm said in those messages was wrong. I went on. I said I thought it was wrong.
Completely.
Had a lot of white people that unsubscribed from me after that video. So it's just what it is. Like, it comes in both ways. But for anybody, whether they're black or any other color, to watch me make a video saying Colorado's going 4-8, and then them accusing me of being racist because of that, they are just as much a part of the racism problem in this country as actual white racists are. Everybody you disagree with can't be a racist. They just can't. Now, I've lived in Georgia my entire life. I've seen the Klan march up the street, okay? I've seen racism. I see it every day.
Yeah.
But just because I think Colorado is going 4-8 and they happen to have a black head coach, I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Okay, but like in your Big Ten win prediction thing, you said last season in the offseason, you talked a lot about Maryland, but you never said they were winning a championship. They have a black head coach. Did you get called racist then? No.
Right. I talk about how much I love James Franklin all the time because he won 9 or 10 games at Vanderbilt. And, people tell me I'm an idiot. He can't win at Penn State or whatever, but like, he's black. It's got nothing to do with it. I like James Franklin because the guy won 9 games at Vandy. You know how hard that is? I didn't like Willie Taggart because he was a terrible head coach. And guess what? He is. He was. He was awful. So was Butch Jones. So was Jeremy Pruitt. So was Dan Mullen. So is Billy Napier. So was Brian Harsin. I clowned Gene Chizik from Here to Kingdom Come for years on this channel. I don't care. Yeah, I don't care. If a team is bad, they're bad. It doesn't. The coach is Deion Sanders. Who gives a shit? Doesn't matter.
You're not.
These people are crazy.
It just pisses me off. Man, it pisses me.
Yeah, I can tell.
Also, I was the guy. It was a couple weeks ago that said I was thinking about making my YouTube channel based off of a group of 5 teams. I think instead of doing a YouTube channel, I think I want to start off with a podcast.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Those are real popular too.
Okay, because I was just, I don't want to show my face yet. I don't feel comfortable with doing that.
Yeah.
And I feel like a podcast would be the best way to do that.
All right. Well, good luck with that. Thank you for coming on. It was good to hear from you. I'm not 100% certain, but it seems like that call was about to take a really negative turn. Maybe that's not the case, and if it is, I apologize. But, yeah, thank you for calling in. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou. That seemed like a setup at the end. So I had to get rid of that there. But good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
How's it going, Uncle Lou?
That's going great.
First time caller.
Okay.
So how do you feel about Penn State this year?
I think they're going to be really good. Top 10 team for sure. Could win the Big Ten.
What about Wisconsin? Do you think they'll?
I think they're going to win the West, but that's it. I don't think they'll win the Big Ten.
I definitely think. I don't know if it's just me, but I think Michigan will beat Ohio again this year.
Yeah, the game's in Michigan. Michigan's favored in that game right now. Ohio State's got a new quarterback. Don't know how that's going to work out. We'll see. But, yeah, that should be a good one again.
You know, kind of what I find funny, because I remember a while back you had this Alabama fan on the line, and it's kind of funny that they think that they belong in the playoffs even after losing 2 games.
Yeah. This seems like a setup, too. Go ahead. Hurry up and get to it, whatever it is. All right. Thank you for the call. But they're trying hard. You got to keep in mind school's out down here. School's out. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Uncle Lou. It's nice to be back on your channel. I appreciate you having me here today.
Yeah, what's up, buddy?
Let's bring it back down to reality. A lot of things, okay. First thing is I can see what you're talking about in the last couple of callers is like a setup. Last things. One thing I don't like is politics in sports. Period. Has no place in that. Doesn't care what side you're on. I hate politics.
Well, do you hate politics? Do you hate all politics in sports, or do you only hate politics in sports that you disagree with?
No, I just hate it. Period.
Okay.
I can't stand it. That's something to get away from politics itself. Then
Right.
It brings politics into it and makes me don't want to watch it.
Right.
But about Colorado, I know you've been saying it. They're gonna have 3 wins, and everybody's losing their minds about having them have 9, 10 wins. I'm bringing it back down to reality. You're right, but it could be like 5 wins, maybe 3 to 6.
I think their goal should be 6 wins, because I don't think you should be playing football if you have a goal less than making a bowl game. So, like, I think that should be the goal. I don't know that they'll get to 6 wins, but if somebody wants to come on and tell me, I want to think they get to 6 wins, I don't think that's an idiotic thing to say. But these people who are going on and on, there's a guy in the comment section today, on and on, wanting to bet me that Colorado is going to make the playoffs in 2024, next year, not this year, but next year.
Wait,
and
what?
I'm just like,
Wait,
I mean,
they said they're
come
gonna
on.
make the playoffs.
Next year, not this year, but next year. And I'm just, come on.
I think they need to get their accreditation pulled and go back to school. You say school was out and it's made. Oh, what is it? June 1st now?
Yeah.
A lot of schools are out of school. Maybe they need to go to summer school and learn their accreditation of real football knowledge. That sounds terrible.
Yeah, they need to
Idiotic.
do something, because whatever they're doing now is not working.
Because nobody goes to Colorado. I wanted somebody to say a 5-star recruit will go to fucking Colorado. Nobody.
Well, they got
Especially
a few
in the
now.
world of
Well, they might get some 5 stars. I mean, they might get a handful.
Maybe that's a little too much. Maybe that's a little too much. I have to think about like you got people that want to stay at home, and that's totally fine. That plays in their college, picking colleges, and I understand. I went to college too, picked the one that's close to my home. A lot of guys do that, so I can see maybe 1 or 2 5 stars or 4 stars or whatever. Wants to go stay at home, and that's totally understandable. But 9 or 10 wins, let's go. You got to be like maybe the next 6 years. I don't see it in the first 3. That's terrible. I don't know what that was about.
Yeah, I mean, Southern Cal and UCLA are leaving. We don't really know what's going to happen with the Pac-12. It's hard to project anything really in the Pac-12 past the next couple of years. I mean, I think if Deion continues to recruit well, I think Colorado will get better year by year. But they're a long way away right now from playoffs or national championships.
Sure. Another thing is, I know we're talking about a lot of conferences, and you're like, and what I mean by like Alabama gets what they want, only 8-game conference games. I wish we can go back to the COVID season conference, like all conference games. That was actually really, really fun. Having all conference games.
Well, that was the most exciting regular
like,
season any of us have ever seen in our lifetime in the SEC.
Oh,
now,
dude,
that wasn't the
great.
case in the Pac-12 and the
It
Big
was
Ten because they
great.
only played 4 and 5 games or something. But, I mean, every single week you had 3 or 4 huge games in the SEC. Every week.
I'm a Gator fan. That our best year was COVID. I know everybody's going to diss off COVID. We had one of the best offenses. Kyle Pitts, Kyle Trask.
Yeah.
Defense was trash. That cost us some games. I ain't gonna lie. Doug Grantham, Kyle Trask and Kyle Pitts covered up that defense. They covered them and they saved them. But that was one of my favorite seasons of Gators football since Tim Tebow or Chris Leak years. Man, that was really exciting.
Yeah, Florida was good.
And we almost beat Alabama, and if we didn't have the shoe thing, and what made me more matter was not about the shoe thing. We lost to Texas A&M. We were like what in the lead by 20, and that would made me more matter than the shoe issue.
Yeah.
But the 2020 season, we all need to go back to that, because apparently you look at the playoffs the last couple of years. We don't have these teams that deserve, to be in the playoffs, like Cincinnati or Oklahoma a couple times. Anything else? Any other team that made it not supposed to go make it?
I don't really know of any team that's ever gotten the playoffs that shouldn't have
Notre
been.
Dame. Notre Dame and Oklahoma need to be banned.
Well, yeah, they do need to win one eventually, don't they?
Yes, they do. They look terrible. But with the conferences schedules, like all conference, that will actually decide, like, hey, these are the best, best 4 teams, the conference champion. I think that's how it should be.
Yeah, I'm not in favor of only playing conference games. I like seeing the different conferences play each other. I like watching Georgia play Clemson and Oregon, and got Florida State coming up and Notre Dame a few years ago. I like seeing those games. I don't want those to go away. I want less of the FCS. I want less of the FCS and Group of 5 games.
Oh yeah, they need to be. They need to put a ban on it. Like need to separate FCS and FBS because it's kind of not fair. But they're getting money in their pockets, so there's like a lot of kickbacks, right?
I think it should be 9 SEC games plus one other Power 5 team at least, and then whatever you do with the other 2 games is up to you. If you want to schedule 2 FCS teams, schedule them. You want to schedule one of them in November? Fine. You want to schedule them both in September? Fine. You want to play 11 Power 5 teams and 1 FCS team? Fine. But 9 SEC games plus 1 additional Power 5 opponent. That's what I would like to see.
Okay, and I like that, but I want to see 2 good opponents, like rival lock-ins. What is that called? What's called lock opponents or something like that?
Permanent opponents.
The ACC had it.
Yeah, well, that's what the SEC was voting on today, and they voted no. So they were going to a 3-6-6 model. Yeah, so like Georgia would play Florida, Auburn, and one other team every year. Alabama would play Auburn, Tennessee, and LSU every year. Florida would play whatever, LSU, Tennessee, and whoever else every year. But you got too many people in the SEC that are scared of 9 games.
Like instead of just conference with the 3-6-6 model, we could put it like cross conferences, like Florida State, Georgia Tech. That would need to be protected, right? That 1 week needs to be protected for alternate or whatever. And the other for like the first week, have like a cross division game for like a Oregon versus Oklahoma kind of deal. You know what I'm saying? And then the rest of them, like the rest of the 10, should be just conferences. I think that's how we get the best 4.
Sounds good to me. All right, buddy. Thank you for the call. I'm going to have to let you go. It's just about time to wrap the show up, but I do appreciate you calling in. Bradley Holcomb, thank you for hitting the super chat to help support the show. He says, hard to tell who cries more between Ohio State and Saban. I would love to see Ryan Day, Nick Saban, and Dabo Swinney in a crying contest. That's what I would love to see. I think that would be a close match. How would y'all handicap that? Who would be the favorite in a crying match between Saban, Dabo, and Ryan Day? Who would be the favorite? That's interesting. I'd probably put Dabo Swinney as the favorite because he's been crying the most for the longest period of time. But it would second place would be close between Saban and Ryan Day. That'll be interesting to handicap that. Have a round robin. Dabo versus Saban. Saban versus Ryan Day. Ryan Day versus Saban. Or versus Dabo. Round robin. 3 men enter. Only one leaves alive. That would be amazing. All right, everybody. I'm going to wrap the show up for today. There's nobody else waiting to come on, so now would be a good time to end it. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me tonight. I apologize again for the technical glitches earlier with the streaming software. I had to reset it and restart the stream. I appreciate y'all coming back, though, to hang out for the rest of the show. Big shout out to everybody who took the time to call in today. Of course, you can't have a call-in show without callers, so big shout out to the callers today. We will be back next week to do it all over again, Tuesday and Thursday. That's the plan. Tuesday night, Thursday night, call-in show nights right here on YouTube. Don't forget the prediction videos start soon. So I know a lot of you in here are over on my Patreon page. Make sure you go over there and leave a comment about what team you want me to do a prediction video for. A lot of you have already done that, but I just can tell by the numbers that a lot of you haven't done it yet. So if you're signed up over on my Patreon page, go over there. It's the most recent post. It's the post on the top of my Patreon page. It's a post about prediction videos. Just leave a comment that says what team you want to see me do a prediction video for. These are the 20 to 30-minute videos that I do where the first half of the video is kind of breaking down the team, the roster, the coaches, the schedule, all that kind of thing. And then the second 10 or 15 minutes of the video, I put the schedule up on the screen. I go through it game by game, and I give you a winner and a loser for every single game on that team's schedule. So not only do I tell you what I think a team's record is going to be, if I think a team's going 10-2, I tell you which two teams it is I think they're going to lose to. Those videos will be starting very soon. So for those of you who are members on the Patreon page, make sure you get over there, read through the comments, see which teams have already been commented, so that you're not commenting a team that's already, that's already on there. And I'm going to start those. Prediction videos soon. If you're not signed up on the Uncle Lou Patreon page and you want to, it's a great way to support the show. That's where we do all the live streams and stuff like that during the season, and video suggestions and stuff like that all year long. When I did the schedule preview videos, same thing. That was from comment section on Patreon. Now to prediction videos, comment section on Patreon. If you want to get signed up over there and you're not, there is a link in the description of the video that'll take you over there. You can look around, get yourself signed up, help support the Uncle Lou channel. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Have a great weekend. We'll be back to do it again next week. Until then, have a good morning.